Hi everyone, welcome back. We're continuing our journey today in Cognitive Distortion land. So this week I'll be discussing the third cognitive distortion in our 10-part series, described as emotional reasoning. So emotional reasoning is best described as a cognitive process by which we believe that what we are feeling is true, even if there's lack of evidence that supports our feelings. You assume that your negative emotions essentially reflect the way things really are, meaning you think your feelings are reality. I feel it, therefore it must be true. But there's no challenging of the truthfulness of these feelings. And we begin interpreting feelings as facts and don't consider that our feelings are a misrepresentation of the facts. So this particular cognitive distortion can look similar to other ones, including catastrophizing and mind reading. So this type of thinking is common in individuals who struggle with panic attacks, anxiety, depression, low self-worth, and self-criticism. So I'm going to go over some examples of what emotional reasoning can sound like. So emotional reasoning can sound like, I'm mad at you. This proves you've been acting rotten and taking advantage of me. I feel anxious, so I know something dangerous is going to happen. You had a close call on your drive home and felt a spike in your heart rate and blood pressure. Because of this close call, you conclude that your usual route home is no longer safe and refuse to drive it again. I feel terrified about going on airplanes, so it must be very dangerous to fly. I'm feeling guilty, so I must be a rotten person. I feel angry. This proves I'm being treated unfairly. I'm feeling embarrassed, so I must be inadequate. Okay, so how do we counter this cognitive distortion? Well, one of the most beneficial ways is speaking with a counselor, because this helps begin the process of understanding our own cognitive distortions, and it helps us to learn how to manage them when situations arise. Though, I'm not going to leave you with just that tip, even though it is a really good tip. So the important thing is that we begin to recognize these feelings and emotions as being distorted and maybe unproductive. Emotions alter our ability to reason and think clearly. They cause us to draw on conclusions based on upset feelings, and this emotional reasoning can cloud judgment and cause long-term challenges due to us misunderstanding a situation. This week we're going to do things a little bit different, so get a pen or a pencil or an electronic writing device, because today I'm going to give you some elements to consider how emotional reasoning is affecting your life. Because the more we start to understand our cognitive distortions, the more we begin to understand ourselves and our hot thoughts. So hot thoughts are instant negative reactions to perceived threats or problems. Okay, so understanding them can be key to overcoming troubling thoughts that accompany depression, anxiety, and anger. Okay, so here we go. I've got 4 tips that I'm going to give you to help you be more aware of your emotional reasoning and when those hot thoughts are arising. Okay, so the first one is be aware that the intensity of the emotions you are experiencing may not be an accurate reflection of you, others, or your circumstances. The second one is use evidence to accurately assess the hot thoughts which are associated with your strong emotional reactions. The third is substitute more accurate balanced thoughts for your hot thoughts and practice thinking these thoughts instead of the hot thoughts when you notice you are having a strong emotional reaction. So the fourth element of learning about your emotional reasoning is take action to address any issues which need to be addressed, which are contributing to your strong emotional reactions. It will begin to be easier for you to do this if you're thinking balanced thoughts rather than those hot thoughts. It's important to be mindful in identifying our emotional reasonings. And there's 5 questions that you can ask yourself to help you identify these emotional reasonings, okay? So the first one is ask yourself if this reasoning is true. Okay. The second one is, what are the facts to prove it true? The third question is there anything that could be truer? What is the evidence for or against our feelings and thoughts? And fifthly, what are your choices? These questions help us to begin to identify a strategy for our emotional reasonings. A point I would like to make here is not that you should push yourself to do things that you're afraid of. Rather, it is that you need to understand that your own thoughts are causing the fear. If there are no facts to back up that fear, then it's irrational. Okay, so you may ask the question about, well, what about trusting your gut? In my opinion, it's vital to understand that trusting your intuition is different than trusting your fear. There's a great way to understand this a little bit better. So while neither has a lot of supporting empirical evidence, when we trust our intuition, we usually do so with a sense of peace and clarity of thought. There's very little fear involved. However, when we are engaging in emotional reasoning, there is no peace and there is no clarity of thought. Emotional reasoning obscures one's gut judgment by blurring the lines in between reality and distortion. This phenomena is defined as accepting one's emotional thoughts or feelings as reality without it having any present basis. In fact, understanding emotional reasoning will help you trust your gut with true facts. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and check in next week when I'll be discussing the fourth cognitive distortion in our series called magnification or catastrophizing, which I'm pretty sure I messed up the wording in my first video of catastrophizing, but I got it this time. Catastrophizing. Okay, so have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.